Hello, my name is Jessica Kazart. I am in the wind band at Shelbyville High School. I'm a part of a project our band program is doing that was partially funded by an Indiana Arts Commission grant entitled Arts in Education. The music being used as part of this project was composed by students and performed and recorded by the Shelbyville High School Wind Band. We want this community to know how grateful we are to those who have served in the military. This is our way of giving back through the arts and to honor those who make our community what it is today. We realize this project is just the tip of the iceberg, as there are many others who are equally deserving of this recognition as those we will meet tonight. We hope you will join us in honoring all who have served, regardless of whether they are included in the project or not. We hope you enjoy the product of our endeavor. I'd like to introduce you to someone in our community who is one of our unsung heroes. This is Mr. Dick Fero. Welcome to the Strand Theater. A big part of this project is to learn about our past so we can understand more about ourselves. It also helps us understand what makes our community special. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I was born in Plattsburgh, New York. I went to college in Western New York, a small college town, Houghton College, and actually transferred and graduated from Alfred University near there. I've been in the Air Force and the Army, and retired from the Army at 21 years. And since then, I've been working in the community. I worked at a major hospital for about 9 years. I now work for Shares Incorporated, and look for work that we can bring back for our disabled folks.
Are you involved in any organizations or clubs in the community?
I belong to the Rotary Club. I've been president of the club and on the board. I was in the Chamber of Commerce for 7 or 8 years, president of Chamber 1 year. I'm currently on the Shelbyville Common Council, and I like to be involved in various things. What
kind of hobbies or interests do you have?
I play golf, but I'm not very good, but we have fun.
Yeah. So you said you haven't lived here all of your life. How'd you get to come to Shelbyville?
The Army assigned me to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was in Korea at the time with a duty station of Shelbyville, Indiana. And I was what they called the State Aviation Advisor to the Army National Guard. And so I stationed in Shelbyville and worked at the flight facility out here on 74.
And what are some of your most special memories of our community?
Oh my. Cash bash with the Chamber of Commerce. Lots of different things with the Chamber. A lot of committees that I was on working with various business people. And of course we've got some wonderful business people here in Shelbyville, and I've always enjoyed working with them. When I was at Major Hospital, that's also an area where there are many caring people in the medical field. That was very enjoyable. And now I work at an agency that employs the disabled, and there's a real joy in being able to do that.
What is it about our community that makes you proud to be from here?
It's the people.
What military branch did you serve in?
I was 3.5 years in the Air Force, a crew chief on a B-52. When I got out of the Air Force, I got an early out to go to college, and then joined the Army ROTC, came back in the Army at that time, and retired from the Army with a total of 21 years military service.
Could you briefly describe your time, like your training, your major duties?
Well, I started out as a tank platoon commander, then transferred to Vietnam. I was what they called a subsector advisor, out with a team of 5 Americans who advised the Vietnamese on small unit tactics and fighting with the VC up and down through the hills. Went from there to the Army Flight Training School and became a pilot. Worked in the tactics department of the Flight Training School until I'd completed a year back from Vietnam, and then I went back again and flew at that time, inserting various troops into operations with helicopters, and also I commanded a maintenance company that maintained helicopters and recovered some that had been broken. Came back and served in various posts after that. Actually retired from, after I left Indiana, I was here as the state aviation advisor. Then I went to Texas, to Fort Hood, and retired from there.
What did people do for fun or pleasure when you entered the service?
Well, I remember being on a bowling team. That was mainly because our executive officer liked to bowl, so he formed a team, and I got pretty good there for a couple of years in bowling. Probably when I was in Korea, we played golf a lot at a local golf course run by the Army. So I enjoy bowling and I enjoy golf. I'm not very good at either, but it's the fun that you have.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And of course, in the military, you end up practicing with guns and shooting on the ranges and stuff like that.
What would you do during a normal day?
Well, when I was flying, the normal day was making sure the aircraft were taken care of properly, being maintained, and then we would take aircraft out either on training missions or in Vietnam. There were various missions of carrying troops or perhaps flying over an operation and keeping track of what was going on the ground.
Can you describe how your life changed when you got to training or boot camp? What was the training like?
Well, there was a lot of classroom in the Air Force, and I actually graduated from an aircraft electrician school and became an aircraft electrician. So a lot of that is hands-on and textbook type of training.
Mm-hmm. What important lessons did you take away from your experiences?
Oh my. I guess through it all, a love of country. It's having been overseas and seen Korea, Vietnam, some in Japan, Taiwan. It's a great privilege to be in America. We've got a lot of nice things.
We do. What were the big fears of the day? What kind of headlines dominated the news?
I remember getting a newspaper article from my wife that talked about a battle that sounded really bad. As it turned out, I realized as I read the article, I was in that battle. And it didn't seem that bad to me.
Wow.
Of course, I was flying over it, but you know, when you're flying down a canal in Vietnam and you see a stream of red tracers coming up towards you, that gets your attention. Because you know that there's a tracer about every 5 bullets. So when you see a whole stream of red, you know there's quite a few bullets coming up that way. So you try and avoid that.
What did you miss most about being away from home?
Well, initially my mother, and I suppose that's normal, my family. And I didn't get married until, let's see, the first tour going to Vietnam. We got married and I was on leave on the way. So of course I missed my wife after that, and later we had 2 children. I hated to be away from them.
Yeah. Did you receive letters on a regular basis?
Not only letters, but in those days they had these little tape recorders, and my wife would record a little tape, and I would listen, and then I would record and send it back, and that was really nice. Yeah.
We're about to wrap up our interview, but before we do, is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't covered yet?
Oh, I think it'd be nice to end the interview by saying God bless America.
I agree. And I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to thank you. Mr. Fero, our community salutes you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.